Hello, good day everyone. So for today we're going to factor trinomials whose leading term or his leading coefficient is 1. So I'll do this in Tagalog. Okay, so the direction is to encircle the perfect square trinomials and give its factors. So this is the prerequisite topic for this. I will assume that you already learned perfect square trinomial. So for this one, number 1 is yes, this is a perfect square trinomial. Square root of 25r squared is 5r. Square root of n 16n squared is 4n. 5r times 4n equals to 20rn times 2, that will be 40rn. So check. Number 2 is also a perfect square trinomial, and same with number 3. Now, number 4 is not a perfect square trinomial because 6 is not a perfect square. And number 5 is also not a perfect square trinomial because we don't have a square root for 21. So how do we factor this kind of trinomial? Okay, so let's try to factor those that are not perfect square trinomials. So we have p squared plus 5p plus 6. So these are the steps. Number 1, factor the first terms. Number 2, list all the factors of the last term. And number 3, identify which pair sums up to the middle term. So let's try this one. So the first step is to factor the first term. The factors of a squared is a times a. Oh, I told you that I'm going to teach this in Tagalog. Okay, so the factors of a squared is a times a. Then you're going to factor the last term also. The last term is 56. The factors of 56, we have many factors for 56. Number 1 is 56 times 1. Next, other factors is 56 divided by 2. That will give us 2 times 28. What else? We can also have 4 times 14, right? And we can also have 7 times 8. So we have here how many pairs? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we have 4 pairs of factors. We're going to choose one of these factors that when you add or subtract will be equal to the middle term. Now the middle term is plus a, so that means it has a numerical coefficient of 1. So which among this factor when you add or subtract will be equal to 1? Of course, that's not 56 and 1 because 56 plus 1, 57, 57 minus 1, 55. That's not 2 times 28 because 2 times 28 because 28 plus 2 is 30 and 28 minus 2, that is 26. That's not 4 and 14 because 4 plus 14, that will give us 18, and 14 minus 4, that will give us 10. And what we're looking for is 1. 7 and 8. So 7 and 8, when you add them, that will be equal to 15. But when you subtract, you can have positive 1, right? So we're going to choose 7 and 8. Now, what will be the sign? So what we want to have is positive 1. One of the clue here is the sign of the last term. The sign of the last term is negative. So it means that the factors have different sign, right? It's either positive 7, positive, we can have positive 7 times negative 8 in order to have negative 56, or we can have negative 7 and positive 8, that will still be equal to negative 56. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is that the last term will tell us if the sign of the factors are same or different. So in this case, since the last term is negative, the sign of the factors will be different. Now, all you need to do is to choose which among these two pairs will give us positive 1, which is the middle term. Okay, so 7, positive 7, positive 7 plus negative 8 will give us negative 1, and negative 7 plus positive 8 will give us positive 1. So the one with positive 1, because the middle term is positive 1, will be chosen. So we have negative 7 and positive 8. For the first term, we have A times A. So our final answer will be A minus 7 times A plus 8. Okay, A negative 7, A positive 8. Okay, so what the sign here is very important. You cannot interchange positive and negative, because if you do that, you'll end up with a negative 1 as the middle. Okay, let's have another one. So first step, get the factors of the first term. Y squared, the factors are y times y. Then factors of 32. So we can have 16 times 2. What else? 32 times 1. 8 times 4. Okay, so then choose which among these 3 pairs, 16 and 2, 32 and 1, and 8 and 4, can become the middle term, which is positive 12. So the clue here is that the last term is positive, so therefore the sign of the factors are the same. Okay, so of course we're going to choose 8 and 4. So 8 and 4. Now the next thing to consider are the sign. So we know that they have the same sign because the last term is positive, and we need to add them in order to get 12. So our middle term is negative. So the next question will be same positive or same negative. Okay, so in order to negative 12, they must be same negative. Negative 8 plus negative 4 will give us negative 12. Okay, so this will be the chosen factors. So the factors of y squared minus 12y plus 32 are, so this one, y times y. Then we have negative 8 and negative 4. If you want to check if your answer is correct, you can multiply y minus 8 times y minus 4 using FOIL method. Okay, so next we have factor the first term, p times p, factor the last term, so 72, that is 8 times 9. What else? 72 times 1, Actually, we already know the answer because the middle term is positive p, so therefore it has a numerical coefficient of 1, and we already have our target, which is 8 and 9. So the last term is negative, so we know that the factors have unlike sign. One is positive and one is negative. So if we do it like this, positive 8 and negative 9 will have negative 72. But if you add this, the result will be negative 1. And if you do it like this, negative 8 and positive 9, the result will be positive 1. Right? If you add. So the middle term is positive 1. Therefore, we're going to choose negative 8 and positive 9 as our factors. So the final answer will be this one, p times p minus 8 and p plus 9. So this will now be your final answer, p minus 8 times p minus 9. When you multiply this, the result will be p squared plus p minus 72. Next, we have this. Factor the first term, y times y. List all the factors of 8. So we have 2 times 4. And we have 8 times 1. So between these two pairs, which one can be the middle term, which is 9? So of course, we're going to choose 8 and 1. So the last term is positive. We know that they must have the same sign, right? The next question will be same positive or same negative. If you have it same negative, the answer will be negative 9. If you have this same positive, the answer will be positive 9. The middle term is negative 9. So therefore, we're going to choose this, negative 8 and negative 1. So we can now write the factors as y minus 8 and y minus 1. So these are the answer. Next, factor the first term, b times b. Factor the last term, 2 times 2. So to avoid confusion, let's just focus on the numerical coefficient. So we can also have 4 times 1. They have the same sign. The last term is positive, so they must have the same sign. Now, the next question is same positive or same negative. So, of course, we're going to choose 4 and 1 because when you add this, that will be equal to 5. So, same negative because negative 4 plus negative 1, that will give us negative 5. Now, all you need to do is to put c because we have c squared here. So negative 4c and negative 1c. So when you write that as factors, so b minus 4c times b minus c. You don't need to write 1 because if the variable has no numerical coefficient, automatic the numerical coefficient is 1. Okay, so these are the answer. So that's all for today. That is about factoring trinomials whose leading coefficient is 1. Bye everyone.